Well, the quest for the perfect camera continues. Well, that really does happen here, doesn't it? Alright, for all two of you who've watched my videos, you'll know that I've become slightly obsessed with trying to find a digital XPan alternative for my travel photography shooting style. My criteria is for decent video, so 4K 60 stabilised, the ability to at least manipulate the JPEGs in the camera at least a little bit, as much like with the Fujifilm cameras as possible, and also the ability to shoot XPan in camera. My GFX 50R is great, but it doesn't shoot video very well, only performing at 1080p and it isn't stabilised. The X-T4 is stabilised, but it doesn't shoot XPan. But upon exploring thoroughly online, I found nothing. It was actually by complete chance that I stumbled across a YouTube comment that stated that the LUMIX S5 does exactly all these things, including shooting XPan natively. And I'm a little bit salty that no one mentioned this to me sooner, preferably before I dropped a stupid amount of money on the 50R. Anyway, after dropping a stupid amount of money on the LUMIX S5 and the 24-105 f4 lens, it was time to take a trip to one of our glorious national parks and see how it fares. Of course it is. Bullshit. Good way to start things off. I don't want to be a typical Brit and complain about the weather, but the forecast did say that it was going to be okay, and we just ended up driving into the goddamn ocean apparently. Luckily we have the gear to stay dry, so we ended up kitting ourselves out and heading off. Snorkels and all. Nice convenient way to carry your camera gear, as long as you've got 6 hands.
Look at that. You look like you're storing pollen. Nice. That's just wrong. I know, this is madness. Right, off we go.
You can see the focus peaking while you're doing autofocus. That's one thing I like about it. I can certainly say that the weatherproofing got a really thorough test here, which it genuinely did pass with flying colours. Everything still works flawlessly after this trip. Now I want to make things clear right from the get-go. I knew that the autofocus wasn't great on this camera, but had it on good authority that it wasn't bad for photography. And while that is true most of the time, honestly, I wouldn't trust it north of 90% of the time with photography. It misses way too often for my liking, even with the focus point being as small as possible. For example, no matter how much contrast I put between the white waters of this small brown robin, it wouldn't grab focus. It didn't matter in this instance because I don't care about this photo, but I can't have focus as unreliable as that. I did buy the S5 knowing this and thinking, well, worst case scenario, I can just rely on the manual focus. But as with all modern cameras and lenses now, the lens is focused by wire and the focus peaking is absolutely horrific. Trying to use focus on this camera is worse than being tortured in a medieval dungeon. If I ever have to use autofocus like this again, I think I'd rather just buy an Iron Maiden and throw myself in. Honestly, I get wartime-esque PTSD flashbacks from trying to manually focus this thing. You can't actually see the focus peaking coloured lines that are supposed to appear to tell you what's in focus. I remember having that issue with the Fujifilm X-T1 years and years and years ago. So if I can't consistently rely on the autofocus, and I can't manual focus, then the whole system is dead to me now. Doesn't matter how great all the other features are, and they are great. If I can't focus the damn thing, then there's really no point in it. Just like my future son, who I'm sure will have ADHD. It rained so much while we were there that there was certainly no need for a cinebloom filter. The fog on the lens was doing that job for us. Well, that's our path cut off. One of the houses on this trek keeps chickens, and we noticed that some of them were taking shelter from the downpour. Someone suggests that this means that the two of us aren't quite as smart as a chicken. I will point out some positives though. The stabilisation on the camera is the best I've ever used, and it does have abilities like being able to use a Ken Burns effect within the camera to save you doing it in editing software later. You can also tweak the way that your photographs turn out as well, and while this isn't as extensive as in Fujifilm cameras, it is a welcome addition. I think the S5 is just more of a video camera with photography stapled onto the side of it. And as a Fujifilm user, I suppose that I would rather my camera be a photography camera with video stapled to the side of it. As long as the video is stabilised doing 4K 60 and has decent low light performance, then I'm pretty easy to please. Both with video and in real life. But not what you're thinking. Pervert. I do want to mention as well that part of my buying into this system was due to this awesome lens, the 24-105 f4. And this lens doesn't disappoint at all. It's small and compact considering that it's a full frame lens, and it's decently sharp throughout the entire focal range. It also has the added ability of being able to act like a pseudo macro lens. I think the magnification is 1:2 as opposed to a true macro lens which would be 1:1, but it's a really nice feature nonetheless. I know this shot sucks, but I only tested the feature a little bit. It's the middle of winter and there's no flowers or anything to shoot. Have a cropped picture of a coin or something instead, I don't know. This shot looks a little bit better surrounded by greenery, as I saw during my last trip here with the GFX50R. I wasn't satisfied with the look from this vantage point, so we decided to head down and get closer instead.
Am I boring you?
I think Fujifilm has just become second nature to me. I can get the results that I want quickly without thinking, and I can't really do that with the S5. Or with a woman. Of course, if I took hours and hours to get to know the camera and tweak its many features to my tastes, and then memorise all the means of activating said features, then I'd be on board. But I have at some point forgotten the reason that I sought out Fujifilm all those years ago, and it's the manual dials. I just love being able to pick up pretty much any Fujifilm camera or even an old film SLR and just being able to use it straight away without learning the quirks and different menu systems and things like that. Maybe I'm old now and just can't be bothered, well, as we say in the UK, faffing about with anything. I just want to pick it up and use it. So I suppose the LUMIX S5 and its myriad of features are wasted on me. Yeah, in theory it should tick all the boxes of any feature that I could ever want on a camera, and it does, in theory. Except for the fact that it doesn't f***ing focus. I do miss the film simulations and the manual dials on my Fuji though. So now you're probably thinking, hey fool, didn't you know that those features of manual dials and film simulations were missing from the S5 before you bought it? What, are you, an idiot? And you do have to bear in mind the fact that, yeah, I am stupid. I thought I could get past those classic Fujifilm features if I gained some other features back by using the Lumix, but I guess I'm too far into my Fuji whoredom to turn back now. As if my disappointment with this camera wasn't bad enough, the weather managed to get even worse than it already was.
Oh, they're actually hurting. Oh. Ah.
Ow. 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 Well, this is nice.
It's like there was a higher being trying to keep me off the path of darkness and have me stick with Fujifilm instead.
Well, whose dumb idea was this?
Yep.
I'm wishing for the rain now. Now it's sleety.
And also, f*** me I suppose, because I never knew that the S5 Mark II was going to be announced as soon as I bought this thing. I'll definitely lose money on this venture now, but that's what you get for having bad gas. That and no one will sit next to me. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully the next video will feature something other than me just searching for an XPan that isn't in fact just an XPan. But I promise nothing.